Hey everyone, welcome back to New Record Day. My name is Ron. If you are new to my channel, welcome home, welcome aboard. If you consider yourself a hi-fi enthusiast, audiophile, music junkie, you name it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you know when the next video drops. This video is essentially a part 2 of a video that I did where I offered up a bunch of sound clips for you guys to choose between two different rigs, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of hard work goes into those sound clips. Takes a long time to get everything level matched and perfect. It's meticulous. It takes time to get everything to sound as good as it does. Nevertheless, I had a lot of fun, and I just want to say thanks to all of you guys and gals that participated and cast your vote. We're going to talk about it right now. Before I do, there is one thing that I want to mention about sound clips in general. And I was resistant to sound clips for a very, very long time. And I think that that essentially spawned the idea of sound clips with commentary, where I feel like if I can jump in a sound clip and tell you what I'm actually hearing in room, it's helpful. If you hear this clip and you start veering off road to the left, I can be like, whoa, 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 get back in line here, bucko. That's not what that actually sounds like. And that's been a lot of fun to do. And I think that a lot of you guys appreciate that about the sound clips with commentary. With that being said, this experiment that I did, I was not involved. I did not jump in and tell you this is what is actually, what's actually going on in room. And so you guys were on your own. And I did that intentionally because I wanted to see, what are you guys going to say? Are we going to be anywhere near close to what I'm hoping, what I'm hoping is going to be some kind of consistent results in the comments? And to my surprise, yeah. I mean, for the most part, there were some consistent comments, and that was interesting to see that. And yeah, there were a couple of you guys where you were like, I'm sitting there going, what rig were you listening to? That's like that's out of left field. And it reminds me of a game that we would play when we were kids, and you have a whole bunch of kids that get into a circle, and you're just sitting down, and the person that starts the game has this sentence that they're thinking of, and then they whisper it to the partner next to them, and then, it kind of goes in order. And by the time this sentence comes back to the original person that came up with the sentence, and it's said to them, they bust out in laughter because it's not even close to what the original sentence was. And I think that with sound clips, I kind of feel that way about them, that I can't control you and what you're listening to the sound clips on, and whether you're listening with headphones, like I would hope that you consider doing. I think that's going to be about the closest that you can possibly get. I use these Grado SR80Es anytime that I'm editing the sound clips. So that's what Ron from New Record Day is actually hearing. And past that, who knows? I mean, are you listening on your rig with your room also being taken into consideration? Are you listening to, near field monitor speakers? That would be a little bit better, I would think. But you guys get the idea that I'm going to show some grace in some of these comments where I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Well, that's probably what they were actually hearing, but that's not necessarily what was recorded and the way that I heard it. There's a lot of things that I just can't control. Either way, you guys are ready for the big reveal. Before I give you the big reveal, there's two things that I want to briefly mention. Number one, in the case of Rig A, in person, when you sit down and listen to Rig A, there are a couple of key tracks in there. The one that really stands out is the last track, which is Mammal Hands, Three Good Things. You hear through the sapphires. It's like somebody jacked the sapphires and they're gone. And what you're left with is this really great recording. Yeah, so Rig A, it can do that. And that's not just my opinion. I've had other, friends and audiophiles come over and listen, and they all say the same thing, which is, man, that gets freaky real in a quick hurry. That gets freaky is that you can hear through the sapphires. And so I want to mention that it's something that you can't really hear on the recording. Speaking of that track, and I'm shocked, I'm honestly surprised that nobody picked up on this, but on that track, I think about at the 2-minute mark, somewhere in there, the congas and the bongos start. There's some distortion actually in the track, and you can hear it. You can hear the distortion, and I was really concerned that you all were going to be like, dude, there's distortion on that last track when the congas come in, and you might think that it's the sapphires. No, no, it's actually in the recording, and it's kind of gross sounding. So that track, outside of that distortion that you can clearly, it's there. Go back and listen. Now that you know what to listen for distortion, like little crinkly distortion. Outside of that, I love that track. It's beautiful. Another thing that you need to know is that in the case of both rigs, Rig A and Rig B, there's some tracks where we get to the crescendo, the chorus, and things are really starting to get, lively. It sounds to me in the recording that it sounds strained. It's almost like things are kind of being choked out. And the truth is that is not what I'm hearing in both examples in room. It seems to me like there's still some headroom there. Like the sapphires are certainly not, believe me, the sapphires are not giving up the ghost at that point. They're like, yeah, I can do this all day, Ron, no problem. It's funny, we were so focused on the rigs that I don't think anybody ever said anything in the comments, but we can all agree those sapphires sounded really darn good. No doubt about that. And then I guess the last thing that I would want to mention is when it comes to layering, soundstage layering. So you have like key positions of instruments within the soundstage, and you have something that's, more forward and something that is further back. That stop in between that gives you that layering effect, which is something that I get with the sapphires, I get with the Anaxoticas, I get with open baffle designs or dipole designs, that layering type of an effect. I don't really hear that in the recordings nearly as well as when you're actually listening in room. You're missing that part, and that was evident again in both rigs A and B. So this is a plus for both rigs, is you get this layering type of an effect, and it's just lost in translation. You don't really get that, in the recording. So setting all that information to the side, here is the grand reveal. I'll start with Rig A. Rig A starts with my MacBook Pro. Okay, so that's what I'm using with Roon. And then from there, I had, in fact, Rig A is all anti-cables, but I had an anti-cables USB cable going into, drumroll, the Lampizator Amber 3 DAC. It's an all-tube DAC. I have a feeling that some of that holographic type stuff that I'm talking about is that's certainly not hurting in that arena. Amber 3 DAC. And then from the Amber 3 DAC, I have single-ended anti-cables going into, drumroll, the LTA Z10 integrated EL84 12-watt amplifier. The LTA Z10, 12 watts. That's what you were hearing in Rig A. Okay. Also, power cords on those are all upgraded to anti-cables. So it is totally wired up with anti-cables. Moving over to Rig B, okay, we need to have this conversation, and don't you lie to me. I'll know if you're lying to me. How many of you guys have turned your nose up to shit audio that voted Rig B as the winner, as the, whoa, it's the clear winner? You turn your nose up to shit audio? Yeah? Well, how does that crow taste? Yeah. So, again, starting with the MacBook Pro as a source, Roon, like for like, not anti-cables. I actually was using a generic printer cable, USB cable, going into the Bifrost 2 from Shit Audio, and then balanced using all audio art cables sent over by Rob Fritz. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. Balance connections, then going into the Freya Plus. And yes, we had the tubes engaged because why wouldn't you? Tubes engaged, Freya Plus, then in turn, balance connections, again, audio art cable, going into a pair of, and I think I'm finally saying it right, a pair of Shit Audio Eargears. Am I saying it right? I've been saying Aeger this entire time, like a big old dummy. Shit Audio is probably like, this is the guy, huh? Yeah? Yeah. Jason, you want to send it to this guy. Aegers in Skahi Audio. This is the guy. Yeah. So I think it's Eargears. I'm probably getting it wrong again. The fun continues. Either way, pair of Eargears. Now, for those of you that are savvy with the Eargears, you're probably going, wait a minute, Ron. Hold on a second. Pause. Spatial Sapphires, 4 ohms, and you're using monoblock Eargears into 4 ohms, and they didn't blow up? Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Susie. They didn't blow up. And in fact, I've been using them exclusively like that, and they do great. So now we're talking, what is it? Like 100 and, what is the math? 130 watts into 4 ohms with the Eargears? 160? 200,000 watts? I don't know. It's enough. And all of you guys that consistently mentioned, my goodness sakes, the bass. Yeah. Kind of makes sense, right? I mean, we've got some muscle power. You know, we've got some heavyweights, you know, working those spatials, working those 15-inch woofers and grabbing them by the throat saying, this is what you're going to do. And that's what we ended up with is Rig A, LTA, Lampezator, Rig B, Shit Audio. It's a lot of fun, right? I mean, you guys did a great job. And yeah, I mean, for those of you that kind of threw like a curveball in the comments, like, what rig were you listening to? Don't feel bad. I mean, it's like the circle game. You heard Aeger. Who says Aeger? What? It's Eargears. And the final results, for those that want to know, in Rig A's corner, we had an official count of 12 votes for Rig A. And for Rig B, we had a total count of 40 votes. So that's it. Comments, questions down below. Keep it civil. Let's not lose our minds over this. It's just sound clips. So there's only so much that I can do in a sound clip. But those are the numbers. You guys heard what you heard. Had a lot of fun, and we'll see you guys in the next video.